Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 315 at scavengerlife.com. So many episodes.
Last week we instead of doing a regular podcast, we played an interview we did with Flavio.
Yes.
Who was in the military, and it was very interesting to hear how, I always like to hear how different people sell on eBay in the different circumstances that they're in. Mm-hmm. Because ultimately it's what it's all about. It's like we're all going to sell in kind of a different way based on what our circumstances are. So
right, like how does it fit your life?
Right, so that's why we always say the way we sell is not the way everyone should sell, just because our life circumstances is different than other people's, you know.
Right.
Like, it's no kids, we live in a rural area, we have lots of space.
Exactly.
Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, 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 we say it all the time.
The other thing, before that, we had been talking about backup plans, you know? And there are people on the forum talking about their backup plans, and what was interesting, I didn't think about it, for a lot of people, eBay is the backup plan. You know?
Right.
They have jobs, careers, and eBay is their backup plan to their job.
Right.
When we were really talking about, well, what's a backup plan to eBay?
Right.
Because when eBay is your actual job, you know, then what's the backup plan to that?
Well, what's funny is eBay was our backup plan, and then it became our main. Right. You know what I mean? I think that's funny.
I think the better way to it's maybe backup plan isn't the right word. I guess what I was getting at more is like, what is it that you really want to do? Or what is that we want to do? You know, so when we were having to work for other people, well, we didn't want to do that. So eBay was a good jumping off point. Right. You know, that gave us our time and freedom. But now that we're doing eBay, I mean, this isn't what I want to do.
Right, forever. It's a great, you know.
Or at least full time. Right. You know, like this is, and now the big question is like, what do we want to do from here? And now we've been choosing, for us, it was like investing in a real estate. So we have as rentals, and I guess we have to ask ourselves, is that what we want to do? You know?
Well, part of the rentals is you're getting closer to passive income. It's not passive. I mean, that's definitely, but when you have someone helping you with cleaning and someone helping you with, I don't know, maintenance or whatever, I mean,
just handling people who are staying.
Right, handling people who are staying, or helping with laundry, you know, like that helps it become more passive. Right.
It's, you know, like we found it's very, so far for us, is, you know, it's almost impossible in my mind to find someone to run your eBay business. Mm-hmm. But I could imagine someone running a rental business for you, you know, or at least much more than the way eBay
right, exactly.
Is,
yes.
And then we do talk about this amongst ourselves, is, you know, and then if we got to that point where we had this kind of passive income, then what do we do? You know, like
that's a little problem.
I mean,
no, sure, totally. You're like, okay, so you know, eBay's being taken care of, or it's a part-time thing, and you know, your rentals are being managed, or it's easy to manage it with the people you're working with, and you're like, what do I do now?
Well, like you know, we were just talking to some people who are older. They're, you know, in their late 60s, so they're it's retired, and you know, they work full-time jobs. And I remember I was talking to the husband, the man, and you know, he was just asking me like, I can now do almost anything I want. Like, I don't know what exactly to do, you know. And to me, it was so interesting. I mean, it's a totally logical question, but so interesting, like asking yourself that question,
what do I want to do,
kind of so late in the game, you know.
Sure.
And I think it's, for us, we just have the benefit of being able to ask that question earlier. I mean, and what a luxury
you can ask that question at any time in your life. It's just whether you choose to. Like, what are you thinking of doing? What's interesting to you? What's exciting?
And you know, and it's, for us, it's not these traditional ideas of, well, we will get a place on a golf course and play golf, or
buy an RV, and although that sounds super fun to me, to buy an RV.
Right, but I mean, you know, so that's not the kind of people we are. So yeah, it is interesting, and I guess that's really the question I'd love to hear people answer. So anyway, I'm not trying to make this like a big, long philosophical talk. I mean, there's there's no sense, and we're not trying to personally plan out our lives from beginning to end.
You're not?
No.
But I think the point is, we have spoken to people who have retired, and they're kind of like, have like a big question mark.
Yeah, I guess, know, and it's my dad was definitely, or is definitely, it's like that. I don't want to be into my 60s, my late 60s, and just be like,
yeah,
okay,
what am I doing?
Why did I do everything I just did? And now that I've earned my way to whatever I want to do, I don't know it's what I want to do. And then basically my options are, I don't know, so I'm not going to choose anything. You know, that kind of thing.
That's what you see. Yeah, exactly. Right.
But I've said it before, and I think we're getting there, is that I've always had this dream of being able to travel.
Yes.
And we've traveled.
Yeah.
But not just, go somewhere and come back, but just to go somewhere and live somewhere.
Right,
like, that's the dream. Like, be able to have the freedom to be able to go somewhere and live for a month.
Right.
And while we're there, not just, like, stay in hotels and do tourist stuff, but stay there and live.
Right.
And do work.
Right. Work there.
That we like to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
That's a great goal.
Yeah. I was also talking about, like, I think eBay really works well with other kinds of businesses, So it's for us, it's rentals. I mean, I know that there are a couple people in our forum, they farm. So they have a family farm.
Yep.
They do their farming, and eBay's a great way.
Yes.
Especially like when it's winter time comes.
Right. It's a good supplement.
They really crank out. But I think anything, if you do graphic design, like if you're it's freelancer, I bet eBay would work
graphic design
well.
or web design, like that type of
photography, anything.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, of course, my favorite idea, food truck. Like, such a great, like, imagine if you had a food truck and you go to events or you go at a lunchtime to a certain place, but then you have the rest of your time. Oh.
Yeah. You love the food. You just need to do a food truck.
I want to find that person that runs a food truck and sells on eBay.
Yeah.
Okay, so eBay for us this past week.
Yeah.
So we have a couple things, especially since we haven't kind of done this in 2 weeks.
Right.
So we were all talking about how eBay is like ending people's listings over 12
Yeah, they're
months
over
old.
12 months old.
That didn't happen to us. It doesn't seem like it's happening to everyone, but it's happening to people. And then all people do is just put them back up. So
yeah, they just relist it.
eBay says, please do something to your things to make them better.
Which is a good point. You should check to make sure everything looks good.
But it's not it's a requirement.
Right.
So, but it went ahead and just updated all of our listings anyway.
Yeah, so I just went through and I was like, what's over 12 months old? Okay, let's end these and relist them. Because I don't want eBay to be like preemptively ending it for me.
And that's all done in the bulk editor.
Yeah, the bulk editor. So for both stores, I just looked and saw, what was listed a year ago last June. Okay, great. End all those, start them again, and just...
Is it easy?
Yeah, it's super easy. I try to only do 200 at a time. Because, which sounds like a lot for some people, because when you relist it or do sell similar, whichever one you decide to do, it only shows you 200 at a time, so it's easier to do it that way. Anyway, that's just a technical note for me. So I do it over a couple days if there's more than that, but there wasn't that many actually.
So can you imagine? So why not just do that like some people do? They're like, do it every 30 days, just relist as new.
It's a pain. Yeah. I'm just like, well, because we do list it and forget it. So essentially that's what I'm doing.
So it's my answer is people are like, well, if you do it every 30 days, it means eBay thinks it's your store's brand.
We've done that.
It's new all the time. I mean, so when we redid those group of listings that are over a year old. So I guess in eBay search terms, we have all these brand new items. It didn't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see a boost. I see normal, regular.
And that's not because we have crappy items. It's because a lot of these items are just long tail.
Look, we sold a set of 6 like vintage bottles the other day. We've had those forever, but they sold for like almost $40.
But so I guess people are asking. So it's one of the ones that
I don't know. Okay. But what I'm saying is it's a long tail item.
Right.
It's just one of those things where you're like, it just took the right person to come buy it this week, and so random.
Yep. So another thing is a buyer actually sent us a message through eBay and said, there's a saddle I'm interested in at your store. But I noticed there's another person that has a saddle, and he or she just copied all of
your photos.
It's your photos, and they gave us the ID, and we checked, and it was absolutely right. Mm-hmm. Someone had just copied our photos.
Yeah.
So you did something that's, I think Mike from Atlanta said we could do.
Yeah, so what I had to do was I had to open a Vero claim.
Right.
Because basically it's a copyright claim. Like, because at first I was like, well, I just want to tell eBay they're using my photos and I want them to shut. But the process is a Vero claim. Right. It's not like photo violation. It's like, it's a Vero claim. That's what it is.
Right. And so we didn't know this until Mike told us this. Its Vero claim is the thing that you get if a corporate company thinks that you have like a counterfeit item or something, like a Gucci or something.
Yeah.
And it's a big deal. Like eBay does not like those, and you can get suspended for having as many of those. And we didn't know that as an individual person, we could file that as well.
So I went to the correct page, and it gives you this like PDF that you download. And you fill out the PDF, you say, this is the item, this person's using my photos, this is the original item from my store, blah, blah, blah. And you email it to like, I don't know, it's like VeroClaim@ebay.com or something. And they got back to me a couple days later, and they're like, yep, we've, filed a claim against this seller. Now, the thing is about this seller, it was someone who had 2 items listed and 1 feedback. So it was some inexperienced person. But how would I have found that except this customer randomly said it, Because he basically was like, why do you have these photos and they have your photos, and do they have the same thing as you?
So eBay said they were taking action, and they also said that they sent the other person our info if they had questions about why we made the its Vero claim. Did you check to see if
I haven't checked yet, so I need to go look and see if that listing is gone. I have to look up the item number again. I didn't take the time to do that, so I hope that eBay took it down. It's really annoying.
So I think that's good because we do hear from other people who are like, I work really hard and someone's stealing my photos. That's the answer. File a Vero claim. Because if you just message the person directly, they
don't care.
They may or may not care.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so we also noticed that on the
Seller Manager Pro, that it looks different now. Although, before we get into it, it looked different for a day, and now it looks the same again. It looks totally the same for shipping and everything, so I don't really know what's going on. But they were supposed to clean it up. The cool thing was they were showing you when to ship your items, which is super helpful.
Right, so I don't know about other people, but I live in the sold items on
that
eBay.
Yeah.
So I love that view. And because it just shows what we've sold.
Right.
I love being able to say, show me what sold this week.
Show me what sold today.
Show me what sold yesterday. Starting from Sunday to Friday, So, because that and then at the bottom, it tells you how much got sold.
Right.
And that kind of helps me keep, are we doing well? Are we doing slow? This cleaner version of that is, they don't do that. You can only sort by, it's 7-day, 15-day, 30, 60.
That's weird.
So you can't really have customizable, for this week. They also don't total how much sold, but it is much cleaner, so I'll give them that much. And as Ryan says, it shows right up front when an item is sold, when it needs to get shipped by.
Right.
Well, that's helpful. It also has a highlighted bar if the buyer has left a note.
Right.
That's really helpful.
Because before, if a buyer left a note, you would see it in your PayPal email randomly. It would be here's the note. And a lot of times you don't even look at that email because you don't need to. Or it would be on the shipping label page, which is also a pain because a lot of times people are like, can you please ship this as a gift to such and such? And you're like, I wish I had seen that, before. So they're making that very obvious. Although, like I said, it was there for a day and the next day. I wonder if they're working out those tweaks on how to view it.
I don't know. There was there was a thing that said, like, how do you like this? And I filled out kind of an explanation of, like, I love that they're updating. I think that's great. Much cleaner.
Yeah.
But don't take away information. So, I mean, the thing about that is that there's never any kind of back and forth. So you just kind of send it in and have no idea who's reading it and if they care.
Anyone read it, if anyone cares. I did like the update from what I saw.
Right. So a couple of random things, not really having to do with eBay, but about, just trying to get stuff sold.
Yeah.
We've been selling furniture and appliances on Craigslist.
Yes. So, look, I think we mentioned this. I bought a really beautiful Jenn-Air oven a couple of years ago on Craigslist. We even talked about it on the podcast. I remember when we got it. It was $200. It was beautiful. It was a slide-in. Ends up, we can't really use a slide-in the new house. It's just not going to work. It doesn't make sense. So I was like, I'm just going to sell it. So the great thing is, I sold it for $650 on Craigslist. I bought it for $200. That leaves $450, which is exactly the amount I paid for the oven I need for the river house.
Yeah, we went ahead and bought a brand new oven at Lowe's.
Yeah, a standalone oven at Lowe's.
So it was good.
And so it's kind of cool because that means I sort of got a free oven.
Yeah, so other than, half a day of driving around and picking stuff up and storing it, and then because we're about to open up it's rentals, so all this furniture and stuff we've been kind of collecting, we're now realizing the stuff it's need. So we also sold an IKEA bed for
$300. It was $300.
Now I only bring this up because we've bought and sold on Craigslist forever, for a long time. This is the first time where we've been putting up ads, and we're getting so much spam.
So many spammers.
And it's two kinds of spam. One is just emails. People are like, they say, is it available? And then you're like, yeah, it's available. And then they're like, I'm out of town. Can I send you a cashier's check?
I mean, it's the exact same thing every time.
And then if you put your phone number in there, it's the same thing. And
only they text you.
It's very strange. I've never experienced spam, period, on Craigslist. And this is so much more spam.
Like every single... I actually was like, I have to take my phone number off these ads because I'm getting charged like per text.
So to me, that's really bad news for Craigslist, but it's also bad news if anyone is trying to use Craigslist as an actual place of business.
Right. Although
I'd love to hear if other people.
I will say that we did sell 2 items, so the real people do eventually find you, and
but it just makes the experience much and it's more annoying, and we only had a couple items up. Imagine if you had like 30 items up. Oh, and then the other thing is, if you are a self-employed person like we are, it means that you have to pay quarterly taxes.
Right.
It's the law. And we paid it. It was by June 16th or something like that. And, I mean, God, we could always use that cash to do other things.
Writing those checks is painful sometimes.
But it is the law, and it's nice to not get hit by a big old tax bill at the end of the year. So I always have to tell myself that. And again, that's those people that get paychecks, all that becomes kind of invisible. Like, you don't even think... how much taxes are getting paid.
You don't see it, really.
But when you aren't paying every paycheck, and then that if you're paying every 3 months, it's a big chunk of change, So I'm just glad we had it's money to pay it.
Yeah, you're good at paying attention to that stuff.
Okay, and then another kind of random thing is phones.
Yes. So what I did the other day is I wanted a phone... The phone I have now is an iPhone 5, and it has 16 gigs, and I swear to God, anytime I try to take too many photos, it's like, you're totally full on storage, because the iPhones have, like, really high-resolution photos. It's really annoying. So I bought a 5C for cheap.
How much?
It was $60.
Okay.
And it's got 32 gigs. It's pink. I love that.
And it's the exact same phone, except it just has a plastic.
It has a plastic case, which I don't care. I'm like, I don't care as long as it's sturdy and it works and it has more storage. And what's cool is I went on Ting, which we love. I absolutely love Ting because you can just go on their chat. And I was like, I just want to make sure this phone is going to work on your network. I gave them the little serial number thingy. And they were like, yep, it looks really good. And we're going to send you a SIM card that's going to work on that phone. And it's awesome. So I just love it because I got a phone for so cheap. It's a great iPhone. And hopefully I'll sell my phone for a good price because it's the higher end model. Even though it's still 16 gig, it's just kind of you're upgrading, but it's not really up. It's side grading. So that was cool. That's why I love eBay.
I mean, so the whole point was just we wanted to get more storage.
I want more storage on the phone,
That's what the goal is.
And I didn't want to pay more than $100 for a phone, and that happened.
Right. And, and it's for us as far as technology goes, we're normally okay to be behind the curve. For us, we don't need to have the latest and greatest. And that's actually smart. So the iPhone 8 is coming out in September, October. So the fact that if we're willing to still be on the 5s, I mean, phones are just dirt cheap, and they're great phones.
Oh my God, the iPhones are amazing.
And like Israel says, is mentioned it before. We did a whole post about it. We really love Ting.
Right.
Ting.
Their customer service is unlike any other.
And basically, it's like one of these. It's weird. I don't know why. The big companies, what they'll do is they'll sell bulk access to their bandwidth.
Yeah,
it's networked to these little small companies. There's Ting, it's Republic Wireless, there's all these other ones, and then they sell it cheaper. I don't know why. So it's so Ting, it uses Sprint and T. It's mobile, depending on which one you want to be on, and it's dirt cheap. And it was a way we are saving at least $100 a month.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Well, the great thing about Ting is you pay for what you use, because when we were on AT&T, it was just this is how much it costs every month,
right?
Whether you're using it or not. So that's for us as scavengers. We're I just want to pay for what I use, and that's what they do.
So it allows us to be very digitally scavenging, where we'll purposely not upload any photos unless we're on a Wi-Fi.
Right.
We try and make our phone calls at home on the Wi-Fi, and only use data if necessary, so that way we're keeping our bill under $50 for 2 phones a month, and that's using it all the time.
Right.
So that's something I like.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about our numbers for this week. We had a solid week. So our main store, we sold 53 items.
Yep.
For about $1,700.
Nice.
Yep.
Very good.
That was good. And we'll talk about what we sold, because it was kind of all a bunch of weird stuff.
Yeah.
But, that makes me feel good. I mean, we're in the middle of June. We're kind of getting on the backside of June, and we're still making over $200 a day.
It's so helpful.
I mean, from this point on, every week we can do that, I feel like we're dodging a bullet. Because, again, I remember last year in the summertime, I mean, there are days when we would be happy to make $100 in a day.
Oh, I mean, there are some days in the summer where you're like, oh, I sold one thing. Thank God I sold one thing.
Yeah.
It's just
we're just trying to keep it up, pleasing the eBay gods. In our second store, we made about $400.
Not bad.
So that's
Not
good.
Bad. Yep.
The way I've been, people are like, well, why even have a second store? I get it. The way I see our second store is, it's more like our second store is paying for our helper. The way I understand it now.
It. Yes, that's really smart. I hadn't even thought of that.
So that's kind of
that's smart.
A nice thing.
Cool.
Okay, let's talk about the things we sold. Let's start with the Scavenge of the Week.
Okay, so we didn't sell the Scavenge of the Week. We bought the Scavenge of the Week, but I found this pipe stand, right? I'm looking at it. It's
a smoking pipe.
Yeah, smoking pipe, a tobacco pipe. So I'm sitting there, it's in 2 pieces. It's these 2 weird pieces. And I'm like, what is this? And I'm like, that looks like a pipe stand to me. And I flip it over, and it says, Made in Italy, Gucci. And I'm like, what?
But it didn't have like the typical Gucci symbol
that it's vintage.
We see now, right?
Right.
And so it's vintage, like it looks like the 60s or 70s.
Yeah, my mom is visiting and she was looking at it and she was like, that looks like 70s to me because it's pretty gaudy. You know, it's a pretty interesting piece. Yeah, it's cool. And I just found it on a junky thrift store shelf, so that's always the best. That's definitely the scavenge of the week.
So the problem is it's broken, and so we need to see. Broken. I think we just sell it as is.
I think so, yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. I did some Googling on it, and I didn't see really anything like it. So
yeah.
I just have no idea. Is it really valuable or is it just not? And so it'll be interesting to find out.
Definitely a cool find.
Definitely.
Okay, so things we sold. This is a weird sale. So last week we sold a brooch for $60, best offer. It's like this glass, vintage, whatever. It's a brooch. And the woman returns it saying, my husband wouldn't let me keep this, okay? So we're like, that sucks, but she is going to pay for return shipping and whatever.
Well, and when she bought it, it's one of those people that sent a really long...
Yeah, long message.
Just saying why she wanted it, and she had this whole story, and it's fine. We don't answer
Yeah, we were
things
just like
that.
Fine, great, whatever. So she returns it even after she's like, this is the most amazing thing ever, whatever.
But my husband demands
My husband demanded I returned it. We were like, great. So she returns it. I get it on a Wednesday or whatever. No, it was Thursday. I remember it was Thursday. I refund the money. I relist it. Whatever. The original price was $79.99 make offer, and she made me an offer of $60, and I took it the other day. So I put it, whatever. Later that evening, we were thrift store shopping. I look at my phone, and it's the same offer, $59 on that brooch. And I'm like, that's weird. I just relisted that. And I look, it's the same lady. She's buying it again. She's got this long explanation, whatever. So you know what? I was like, she can certainly buy it again, but I'm gonna reply and say she has to buy it at full price. So I was like, $79.99, glad to sell it to you again. And she bought it again.
And she's in Hawaii, so I don't know. It's just one of those weird...
Going back to Hawaii.
But see, that's why I like selling on eBay, because eBay protects us. I mean, if she's kooky, has some kind of problem or whatever, we're doing everything we're supposed to do, and if she wants to return it again, she can. I mean, it's her choice. But...
And she's paying for the shipping, so if she wants to keep sending it back, I was like, cool, lady, So that was weird. And
now it's with everything else. I mean, it was just a lot of random stuff, and we sold, and we talk about this on it's forum a lot about, people are like, I never let anything in my store stay in the store for more than 90 days, or else I just dump it because I don't want stuff that is dragging my store down. Sure. I mean, which is cool. For us, it's just so different. Almost everything that sold during the week was stuff that is long tail. It's not in high demand, Yeah,
a lot of it was.
It's little glass bottles and old broken cameras and a rusty farm equipment and these old skinny ties and I mean just stuff that none of this stuff will sell in under 90 days, I mean, almost all of it is stuff we've had to sit on, but we sold a lot of it.
Right.
We didn't know when this stuff would sell, but we knew it would eventually sell.
Right. And like we said, stuff sells every day. So, those little glass bottles we've had forever. Right. The rusty farm equipment, it's this rusty pulley thing. We've had it for a long time, but it sold. So, and some stuff that I listed yesterday sold yesterday. And you're like, that's just how it goes.
But, again, I just like we talked about at the top of the podcast. I mean, when I talked to Flavio, who's in it's military, and he's working out of a closet, he can't sell the way we do.
Right.
So I understand that. But, this is one way to do it. Hold on.
It works for us. You know? Okay, let's talk about customer issues. So someone in the global shipping program on the second store, so I don't have anchor support there. I just have regular customer service abilities there. I called customer service and I was like, it's a global shipping program. This item broke. It was the top of a wooden ice bucket. It like split in half. And the annoying thing is they were like, okay, this is on a Tuesday. They said by Friday it'll be closed. Technically, they should close it right then. They should just, either transfer me to the global shipping program people or whoever and have it closed. Silly me. I was like, okay, great. It'll be closed on Friday. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm like, So by Friday, it was actually Saturday, the guy was like, what's going on with this? And I was like, didn't they refund you? He's like, no. And I'm like, they were supposed to refund you yesterday, which I actually had told him. I was like, they should refund you by Friday. So I actually called Anchor support and I was like, look, I have this other account. It's weird because sometimes on Anchor support, they'll be like, oh, you have another account? Great, let's look it up. Let's fix it. And then other times they're like, oh, no, we can't do that. And you're like, what's the answer here? So anyway, I got a good rep and I was like, look, they told me it would be closed. It should be closed. And they were like, look, next time just push back and tell them it needs to be closed immediately because that's what's supposed to happen. Right. I think basically this rep just pushed it off, was like, I'll let someone else take it. He didn't care. So that's what happened. So the Anchor support said, you got to push back on that stuff. So they closed it.
And so kind of another item that we shipped through the global shipping program, and this hasn't happened, I can't remember when this happened, where the person got it and they're not happy it's with the item and they say it's an INAD,
Right. So the issue is this person said these shoes don't fit. And they say item not as described. And you're like, well, which one is it? Right. That's the issue. So with global shipping, the problem is they're in Australia and they're saying since it's item not as described, seller has to pay all shipping. And I'm just like,
right.
What do you want me to do?
Because, it's interesting. The only issues we normally have is the item is supposedly broken. And so eBay takes care of it, right, and they just pay for everything.
Yeah, it's insured.
With this, it's weird, and eBay just said to accept it's returned, but say that we can't give them a label.
Because you can't give them a label because they're in Australia. And actually, the first rep I talked to a few days ago, because I called a few times about this, they were like, yeah, just go on Australia Post and buy them a label. I'm like, that's literally impossible. Like, you can't even do that on USPS. Like, I can't buy someone a label. So basically they're like, look, accept the return and then in 5 days just close it.
Now what happens if the person ships it back?
Well, then we're I don't even know. Like that's
it's interesting. So that is a point in the global shipping program that they have not made clear to the buyer.
Like
if seller.
if the dude in Australia puts it, a tracking, an Australia Post tracking, and then I'm like, oh, I have to accept this now. So that's what happens. Yeah. Although this person's been super slow, like they'll take days to write back to me when I ask them questions.
But I mean, I guess that's the thing that I don't understand about with eBay, because we take its photos, there's pictures of the size, there's so all the information's there, and the person says it doesn't fit. That's just buyers changing their mind.
Like item not fitting. Right. So it's like, it's not our fault that it doesn't fit. So it's kind of a weird situation. We'll see. We'll keep you updated on what happened.
Okay, our coming week, I am continuing to work on this house that we're doing.
You're very good. You're the best general contractor.
Thank you very much.
I really mean it. You're very good at being organized.
I appreciate that.
And having lists.
Yep, we kind of have a new group of guys who are working on it, kind of doing the finished work, and I'm having fun kind of getting it done.
It's so good. It's amazing.
And so, as far as eBay goes, we still have those slides.
Yes, we have slides. We have clothes.
Now, the slides we still talked about. We still just need to figure out how to go through them. Yeah, like how.
Well, the good thing is, look, we had this huge box of wooden knobs, like Victorian age wooden knobs, right? And I'm looking at this thing, and I'm just like, how in the hell am I going to lot these up? And we did it. I mean, my helper and I, we did it, and it's done, and they're pretty much listed.
Is there any part of you that enjoys that? Like, because I love sorting through.
Well, what I enjoy about it is getting it in process. Right. Like, I'm not like, this is great. I'm like, how should I? Okay, these are going together. Right. These are going together. Great. So it's like, instead of it sitting stagnant in a big dirty box, disgusting,
like where
dusty.
where it's not being.
It's taking
anything.
up room in my office. Like
and
what I want it to be is I want it to be
money,
cleaned, photographed, listed, available, making money.
But is there
that's what?
But is there any part of you where like there's a box of chaos and then you find order within the chaos? It's like an OCD thing.
No,
like,
not at all.
Okay.
That does not satisfy me. Really.
Got it.
So what satisfies me is getting it active, not the exact act of these two go together. I'm like, oh god.
No, you're like, look at these. Look at all the sky ones, and look, these are all the car ones. And like, these are all the
for the slides.
Yeah.
Look, compared to wooden knobs, yes, I'm excited to do slides because of that reason. Hey, this is a really cool slide. I'm going to sell it by itself.
And real quick, when did you say it's knobs? What you are drawer pulls, right?
They're drawer pulls, yeah. Oh, well, they're drawer pulls and they're like finials and they're like little rosettes that go on furniture. Most of them were knobs, like drawer pull knobs, and a lot of them looked exactly the same.
That's a good example of stuff that I guess people who don't want to hold on to items, they should not buy stuff as like this. But it's for us. I bought a big box of the stuff for it's $50.
Yeah.
And
look, one knob the other day sold for $30.
Right. But
that's just one knob.
Who knows how long it's going to take for this big box of just this, because you have to wait for someone who's like building old furniture or someone that buys a piece of furniture and needs a handle and it needs a particular style. It's just
like they're not that many.
This is not stuff that sells fast. It does not matter if we make them 5 cents each. Right. They will not sell fast. Right. So for us, it's about
we sell faster, but
doubtful though.
5 cents.
If someone doesn't need the item for $10, they don't need it for 5 cents. Unless it's somebody. The people that buy it at 5 cents are the people who buy them and sell them because they're willing to hold on to them for $40.
Right. So, which is us. So exactly.
It's just a different style.
Yeah, it's different.
So let's go ahead and answer these questions that people called in about.
You can always call our voicemail line. The phone number is 540-407-8486. You have 3 minutes to leave a voicemail.
Hey guys, I just finished listening to you guys' podcast. It's great. Had a quick question. I'm really getting anxious about it or a little frustrated more with the accounting side. Basically, I've been running my eBay store for a little while, and I've been having issues with determining what percentage of the sales should I allocate towards buying new stuff, and how exactly should I be keeping as a salary to pay myself. And I just wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on it and see what systems you guys use. Thank you so much. Bye.
Okay, this is a good question, but I'm not sure if I have a good answer for you. I honestly don't think we may be the best people because we're like I'm not an accountant. I didn't go to business school. I bet that people that are educated about this stuff, they know that there are all these it's rules, like I need to keep 20% and always pay it yourself first.
Right.
For us, it's just like a cash flow thing,
it's a cash flow thing.
Like I need X amount of dollars to pay a mortgage, our bills. Right. We're very frugal, and then we don't spend it's money. Right. Like that's it's default. We don't spend
money.
And then when we do spend, we talk about what we're going to buy.
Right. We don't do it in a traditional sense where there are businesses where you are self-employed and you pull a salary, and like that's just a different business model for us. But in terms of buying inventory, you got to make sure you keep some money to buy inventory, of course. But in our little world, inventory is so cheap that it's almost like not even
there's this guy who's very good on the it's foreign. TSAT is the name he goes by, and he sounds like a business guy. Like he came from a corporate accounting world, and he is doing its numbers, and he's got projections, and it's very cool.
Right.
And he talks about cash flow. Like he needs to move inventory so he has enough cash flow so he can buy it's more inventory, and that's cool. I guess for us is just like we spend our costs of inventory are so small. In the history of us being on eBay since 2008, I have never been in a store and been like, oh, I wish we could sell some items because I can't afford to buy some old clothes.
Well, so that's how we started. That was the whole point, was like, how cheap or free can we get stuff to make money?
Right.
And we're still like that. I'm like, what? $10 for that thing? That's way too much.
So, again, that's a long way to say I don't really know the answer, for you. I don't know. I just know what works for us.
Yeah.
Like, all the money we make with eBay is in a pot.
Yes.
And then we pay our bills from that. And then we just try and keep as much cash as we can,
Right, exactly.
So I don't really know the answer. And I think you personally just have to figure out for it yourself, what are your costs every month? So how much do you need
to
make
That's
on
the
eBay?
number one thing that we did from day one.
And we always talk about that. If you're trying to sell on eBay full time, the first thing to do is figure out what your bills are and figure out how to bring your bills down.
Right.
Like,
that's
do you really need cable? Did you get a cheaper phone plan?
Right.
Can you not go to the gym? I don't know. What things are extravagances?
Exactly.
Because the less expenses that you have each month, the less money that you have to actually make.
Right. Or you make the same amount of money and you can save more.
Yeah.
Exactly. Those are the...
Hi, Brian and Jay. This is Joyce from Ohio. Thanks for all of your information. Your podcasts are great. And I especially appreciate your suggestion last week about putting something true white in your picture. I put a piece of copier paper, and it really made a difference in my photos this week. So thank you. Today I tried to post a Lane Bryant shirt, just a basic shirt on there, and eBay sent me this, as I tried to list it, this big box that took up the whole screen, that there was an authentication problem, and it just went on and on about their opinion of you're posting fake things. I mean, this was a Lane Bryant shirt from the Goodwill. It's not like it was Dolce and Gabbana or anything like that, some really high-end thing. But it says make absolutely certain that your item is authentic before you post this, or basically there'll be trouble. So anyway, I looked up Lane Bryant labels and stuff like that, and I really examined the shirt good and everything, and I thought, this is for real. But it really would not let me list it. It kept bringing me back to that box. And so finally, after a half hour of aggravation, I just thought it's better not to post it, and I put it in the donate box thinking I don't need a Vero. I was wondering if you or anybody has run into this much, because I've been posting things since 2008, and I've never received anything like that before. And on something like Lane Bryant, seriously? So thanks, and I'll listen next week to see what you have to say about that. Bye.
That's weird. I just think sometimes maybe Lane Bryant has been sending out Vero claims.
Right. I mean, I think there are certain companies, and there really is random, that are much more aggressive.
Like Velcro.
Yeah, like the company, it's Velcro. If you put Velcro in your title, they will come after you.
Right.
And it doesn't really matter if it really is real or if it's fake. It's more about how much of a hassle do you want to go into this.
Right. And it's like you're saying, you're just like, look, if it's too much of a trouble and it's just a cheap shirt, it's like, either just say, yes, it's authentic, and
and take, but then that doesn't mean that the company still won't come after you.
Or donate it back and don't buy that again.
I think another company I've heard is a Monster, like
Monster, the
energy drink.
Yeah,
people
if
put
you
up
have a
like
hat
hats
or something,
you'll get a takedown.
Yeah,
it's notice, and even though people are like it's real. So
well, I think part of it is like we're saying, like Monster doesn't want their stuff on the secondary market. They want to be able to sell it and make all the money, and that's just their ability to do a Vero claim. Keeps that possible.
So I think figure out how much you want to fight this. And if you want to put yourself out there for having things taken down if a company is,
Be prepared for it if you list it.
Hey, Jay and Ryan, it's Stan. I was just listening to your last podcast, and let me say, I love your podcast. It's the first thing I listen to each Monday. But you were talking this morning about what you might do in terms of philosophy if eBay went away or so, and I know that you buy things and hold them for a long time. So my suggestion is there is a eBay seller by the name of Ginger and Jay, and Jay, of course. So you might want to give them a look. They have sort of a different philosophy. They've been selling evidently for a long time, but they sell both auction and fixed price. So thought you might be interested. Have a great day, guys. Bye.
Okay, so like we said, there are different ways to sell on eBay.
Right.
Okay, we're buy and hold, we're willing to wait, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So I think this is interesting. So if you follow this guy and go to Ginger and
Jay and Ginger or something.
Jay and Ginger eBay, just do it's what he says. And I looked it up. And they have kind of like a nice fancy site.
I remember you sent me the link,
And their whole gig is this. They start everything at 99 cents. So they have a big store.
A huge store.
They're a listing like crazy. And they're selling, mainly clothes. It looks like stuff you can get at Goodwill. Probably they go to, I don't know them. I don't know.
Maybe,
but everything starts at 99 cents. So if you look at what they actually sell, they're selling a lot every day.
Oh, a lot.
However, most of the stuff sells with one or two bids. So they're selling things for 99 cents, $1.21, $2.33,
That's a grind,
to me, it's like, I don't,
that is a grind.
The math must work for them. I don't understand that. The amount of time it takes to find and list items and then ship them, and you're making $2.
Well, a 99-cent item, I'm like, I don't know where the money is.
Now, I will see. What they do is this. They do a set price to ship. So it's
so
like
they're making money on shipping.
So it's whatever, $4 or something,
and it's
to ship.
$2.60.
So they're probably is making a couple dollars on every item they sell. That's still not enough. If these guys are making at most $5 an item, even if you sell, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you sold 100 items a day, but then how much work?
It's just shipping 100 items. You're just shipping all day.
It's like we always say. It's just like this scavenger. It's in
the equation.
Yeah, and you have to figure out. It's not all going to be perfect. So do you just put a lot of time into putting things up on eBay, and then it's making as much, but you sell more, or do you put in not as much time putting things up? You're willing to hold on, but you make a lot more.
Yeah, it's just the building blocks got to make sense. And when I see that, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
But it's got to make sense to someone if they keep doing it.
Hey, Jay and Ryan. It's Brett over here in Indianapolis. I got just a couple things I wanted to comment on. One was that with the summer being a little bit busier than what we're used to, I have some ideas. One, I think the economy is better. It's been the best economy in the past 10 years for a lot of folks. So I think a lot of more people are buying stuff even later for themselves. Also, I think people are getting more comfortable with using apps on their phone and also doing shopping online. So as you probably see people out and about, even when they're at concerts and games and picnics and all that, you'll still see people playing around on their phones. So hopefully my guess is correct in this will continue on down the line. Second one a comment I had was, as a buyer, I bought an item that wasn't delivered by the post office. They said it was not a secure location. I do have a secure location. And so I went down to the post office to ask about it, and they couldn't find the package. Turns out that it was insufficient postage, but I had opened up a case about it, and basically the seller was not very nice to me. was not very polite and professional in their communications with me, and pretty much said that it wasn't their problem. So ended up that the package had insufficient postage, and so I had to pay for that. I appealed to eBay. They had already closed the case in favor of the seller, and so I'm waiting for the appeal to come back. Just want to say that as a buyer, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. It's going to be a long time before I buy anything personal off of eBay again. That I also have been giving people for like graduation or weddings or what have you, eBay gift cards, and I'm going to stop doing that as well, just because just not really happy with eBay, the way that they treat me as a buyer, and especially since I'm a seller, even though I don't have a really big store. Anyway, like the show. Hopefully I didn't take too much time. Thanks. Bye.
So number one, I agree. I hope that kind of we don't, there isn't a law that says people don't buy as much in the
summer, yeah.
It's summertime. So I hope that that's true. I like that hypothesis that people are buying it's more on their phones, and so it's making it easier.
I think that's true. We've seen a huge tipping point in mobile sales, and so that's going to continue to grow.
And also, it was about 3 or 4 years ago when eBay got slapped down by Google because they were spamming their search.
Yeah,
and so Google like really put them down, and we all saw a big hit from that. Maybe we're slowly coming back up because eBay is actually investing in organic search.
SEO.
So Google sees them as being a valuable search items, and so that could be good too.
It could it took a while, but it's back.
So we'll see. So far we're 2 weeks into the month. Let's see if the summer's good. We just got to basically get to September. You know? And then the second thing is, I'm sorry you had a bad experience on eBay. I mean, that
sucks.
That's why, as someone that sells on eBay, I want to see people who sell on eBay in a bad way get thrown off.
Yes.
I think if you're not professional and if you're out to cheat people and all that, like you're hurting all of us.
Yeah, those sellers hurt everybody.
I think it's a good example too that people who sell on eBay, they always cry about eBay always takes the side of the buyer. I mean, here's a good example. They didn't take the side of the buyer.
Right. I know, it's kind of crazy. So yeah, you definitely have to appeal that and call back, and you should fight that.
Yeah, I mean,
definitely.
That has happened to us where we've shipped something and we did something wrong and the buyer got charged some extra shipping.
And you know what I do immediately? I say, I will refund you the difference right now.
Yeah. Right.
I'm so sorry that happened.
Right. And also, even if we have a disagreement with a buyer, we never get into personal back and forth. We always just give them a choice, here's a refund, send it back. We always just give them a professional choice to make.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, hello. I'm going to cover 3 areas which I don't think get covered that much or are new. The first one, is there a way to print or a printer app from, say, an iPhone to some sort of Bluetooth label printer that you could somehow use in the field? I mean, I don't know whether you would need an inverter in your car like the truck drivers use, or it would operate off batteries. I work in remote locations and find myself, if there's already a best offer back and forth, or it's bought and not paid for yet, that I might want to be in a situation where I take it in my trunk and get it shipped that day by a mobile print function. The second thing that I wanted to cover is I was involved in a Craigslist deal about a month ago where the guy was pretty straightforward. It was a commodity, a sealed box of some type of tubing. And the issue was, although he sent pictures of it, for all the diameters and lengths of tubing, they all came in basically the same size box with the same picture on the front. So here I was spending my time and energy thinking that I had negotiated for 2 boxes that sell on eBay, let's say for $112 each, and I had agreed on $70. What ended up happening is the 2 boxes sold for $60 each, so I made not quite what I wanted to, but my fixed costs were still the same of driving an hour round trip and gas. So that's something to watch out for. The boxes were literally the same. On the front, on the side, which he didn't send me a picture of, was the specifications. The last thing real quick is, even though you guys buy items for $1 and are long tail, I live in a condo, I got to get the stuff out and get it moving. Do you guys have a go-to list of what you will pay for an item compared to what it sells for? For example, if it's between $3 and $6, it needs to have sold for like $29 in the last month on eBay. If it's like a $11 or $15 item, it's only worth picking up if it's $49. And obviously the items I'm referring to that I would find at the thrift store are like commodities, an ink cartridge, water filters for a thing that goes in the refrigerator, not like a sweater where it's subjective. I tried to do this and put it on an index card, and I find myself violating it all the time. Thanks for the answers, guys. Thanks a lot.
So the first thing, Bluetooth printer. Some people were talking about that on the forum too. I don't know if they found the answer. If you can print a label through Bluetooth through your phone to like a little portable printer.
Can you print a label from your phone?
You can.
Even?
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of people will answer that because there's some people that just do all their business on their phone. Huh. I've never done it.
I didn't know that you could actually do labels from the phone.
I think you can.
I know our friends Mikey and Wendy a couple of years ago, they lived in their car. They had like a cool, they went for 6 months and they were camping and going from town to town and being in the country, and they would sell on eBay out of their car.
Out of their car.
And there's even a picture of them on a
printing
campground.
Out labels.
Printing. But they had a laptop and a printer.
Yeah, they printed that way. And I think they used the hotspot on their phone for Wi-Fi. But, so I'm not really sure. I would love to hear the answer. Did you Google it? I don't know. Yeah. I haven't Googled it to look for Bluetooth printers.
We haven't had a need to be that.
I would love to
mobile
to hear that. But okay, so in terms of your Craigslist deal, where I'm assuming you bought something off Craigslist, brought it home, and then realized.
I think the answer is this. I mean, I struggle. It's with this on Craigslist too, because it's not like eBay where the person who sells has to be really specific, and if they're not, they can get caught, and they have to bear its responsibility of not putting the right info.
Craigslist not like that.
Wild West, I've had that happen too. I don't ask enough. It's questions.
Like everyone's assuming certain things.
Like I've bought flooring where I thought I asked the size of the flooring, but there was a size I forgot to ask because I assumed. I drive 6 hours away to pick the flooring up, and I realize, this isn't what I want, So it's really on us as a buyer to ask every single question. Do not assume. And if I need more, it's photos, I will ask for it.
Yes, and people are usually good about more photos.
We buy a lot of furniture on Craigslist for ourselves, and often people will pull the photo from the company's...
Like IKEA.
A website. So, but I always say, no. I want the picture of your item,
Yeah, so I see the condition.
I want to see to make sure this is actually what I want.
Right.
Anyway, and then number 3...
It's, do we have certain numbers? Like, if this is $3, it has to sell for $50.
And this is a good question, too, of like, we always talk about we love to buy things for $1. And that's kind of more of a offhand comment because we do like to buy things cheap. And there's so much stuff out there, like when you go to a yard sale, just stuff under $1. But we will pay more for stuff. It's no like scientific equation. It's more about if I pick something up and it looks cool and I think I can make $30 for it, I'll pay $5 for it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you said, he said, I tried to do this and I put it on an index card and I find myself like not going by those cards. It's in your brain. What are you willing? The thing for us is you're always going to make money. I've never lost money
on anything.
And I've never not made money. I've always made a profit. It might be a little tiny profit, always a profit.
I mean, if it's under $5, I don't even think about it. I'm even, like, I know I'll do fine.
Right.
If it's like between 6 and 10, I'll think about it real quick. I'll be like, can I make, $40 on this item if I pay $8?
Yeah.
If it's over $10, that's a big buy for us. Right. So I have to be like, I'll even pull my phone out and be like, can I sell this thing for $100?
Yeah.
For us, though, when we're spending, $100 on something, it's more about a table. Like, I'm buying a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff.
So that's a different kind of equation where I'm at an auction and there's a table of stuff and, I'm going to spend $200.
Yeah.
I have to kind of do some quick, it's math in my head. Like, how many items are here?
Right.
I always try and find one item that's going to pay for the whole table.
Yes.
And then just know everything else
is just bonus.
Right, and exactly. So, again...
It's just different. It's different for every item.
Like I said, I'm not a spreadsheet guy where I'm like doing like exact numbers of what in... And I can't tell you our numbers are going to be like in 6 months. I just know it's what's worked for us in the past and what works for us now.
Right.
And again, everything we pick up, it's not so much a number. It's about, do I think this is cool and do I want this in my life? Do I want to handle it and list it and store it?
Right, and look at it.
Yeah, that's the most important thing too.
Yeah.
Hey guys, just wanted to ask you guys if you knew how to fix the out of stock option. I clicked it on eBay. It is an option in the site preferences to keep an item live once you sell it. Say, for example, if you have multiple quantities and you run out occasionally, so you can select an out-of-stock option so that you don't have to recreate the listing. I did this, but unfortunately I'm having eBay recheck this all the time. So my question is if you guys have noticed that and if you guys know a way to fix it. I've used different browsers to try to uncheck it, but the problem just persists, and every time that I sell something, the listing stays active even though the quantity is now 0, and it's really frustrating. I just wanted to share with you guys that glitch. All right. Have a good one.
Yeah, I actually did not know that was an option, that you can have an out-of-stock option that keeps the listing live. And that makes sense because if you're out of stock for 3 months, you don't want your listing to just not exist anymore. But it sounds like you're having an issue with it. I've never used it. I didn't even know it existed, and it sounds like...
Right, because we don't really sell things where we, buy them in bulk and then sell out and then buy them again. So that's not really our business model, but I know that is for some people. That also answers the question of, the people that sell those kind of objects, like iPhone cases.
Yeah.
You'll see, like, why is this iPhone case
$900?
$10,000?
Yeah.
And it's because they just price it really high so no one will buy it.
So
and
it's
then,
an active listing.
Then when they get their items again, then they'll bring the price down.
So
it sounds like that's an improvement eBay is trying to do, but like a lot of their improvements,
it's buggy.
They take time to iron out.
Hi, Scavengers. This is Tim from Southern California. Love your show, and my question is about your helper's impact on your business. I'm just curious, just thinking about scaling, and I'm just wondering how, if, like, I don't know if you've run any stats on, like, how much increase in income you've received because you've had that helper, or maybe just an overall view of how it's impacted your bottom line, because obviously there's additional cost that you pay her, but just wondering if it's had an impact in your sales, maybe even non-sales stats like how many active listings you have at any one time. Just curious how that's worked out. Thanks. Love your show again. Bye.
I was just thinking about this this past week because, we pay her every 2 weeks. We have like payroll.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, we're paying, X amount of dollars every 2 weeks. Are we, is this worth it? Are we making more? So I kind of looked over our numbers. Again, I don't have a lot of crazy business spreadsheets. It's more about like, anyway, I don't think we're really making that much more what it is it's taking the load of work off of us.
Right.
Like, don't you feel that? Like, we're not having to do a lot of the grunt work that we used to do. And, we are always doing other things. So we would have to kind of like stop doing eBay.
Right.
And this allows us to always be doing eBay.
Right. It's more continuous.
Right.
Like, we were still renovating a house since October. And it's allowed me to continue to keep the flow of eBay. Now, I hope that eventually it is going to show, but maybe that's why our summer isn't slow.
Right.
That could be a good reason.
I mean, so she started back November.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had
November.
really strong sales since November. Like, we have not had a month yet where I'm like, yikes, we have had a slow month. And that could be because she's constantly putting things up.
Right, exactly. She's helping us keep that going.
But to me, I think that the bigger thing is she's just taking a lot of the grunt work off of our shoulders, and that's giving us freedom to renovate a house and travel and work on other things.
Exactly.
Like when we were out of town for 3 weeks, she worked the entire time and was doing eBay for us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, and doing laundry for the Airbnb. It was huge.
Right. And then our ultimate goal is once we have a storage building and an inventory that another person could understand, she could actually ship for us. Right. So that's kind of our next big goal.
Yeah. So financially, I feel the numbers are, a bit up, but not like exponentially, like huge. But it, like you said, it's helped us to stay steady, keep working, keep the numbers steady.
Right.
Than like a super drop.
Right.
So, and when we're away, she's helped us with the Airbnb business, which is huge for us. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
So it's lots of good things. Okay, that's it for the podcast this week. You can check out the blog at scavengerlife.com for the links we discussed and to join the conversation on the forum. You can call and leave a question or a comment on our voicemail line. Again, that phone number is 540-407-8486. We post an episode every Monday morning. On Wednesday, we post a What Sells video, and you can see what sold and how much it sold for. Currently brought to you by Steven Schultz and his very cute dogs and cat. You can subscribe to us through iTunes or YouTube, so you always get the latest episode. You can listen to our other podcast, which we will be updating soon on shampooandbooze.com, and we talk about our vacation rental business and our renovation that's happening. You can also rent our vacation farmhouse, and you can see the link to that on shampooandbooze.com. And we are ending this podcast in 3, 2, 1.
Bye.